35.
Probably just say a little bit of the sound, mate.
Well, I'm happy, and it's been a good day, and I hope it's going to be a better night.
Congratulate the Irish on the top and all that.
Yes.
They're well done, all Ireland, and I'm going to let you get back in the dressing room. Right, Bobby, just sum things up really after what's happened today.
Well, I think it's been a marvellous result for Northern Ireland. I think that is a terrific achievement. They've actually done something we couldn't do, and my, compliments and my congratulations to them, to Billy Bingham, to his staff, and to the players. And I think it's wonderful for British football.
And what about England now here tonight?
Well, it's set it up for us. You can virtually say we've booked our passage, but that's just the beginning. We want to win tonight. We want to win convincingly. We want to head the group. And we want to show people that, apart from playing teams like Turkey, we can go to Mexico with some confidence and play as well against teams as we are going to tonight as we would against Brazil and Germany and France and people in top category.
Thanks very much, Bobby. That's smashing. Just wait and get a little clear, can we, on that? And I'm sure that'll be, we can let you back in the dressing room.
So a night of high expectation and an evening to savour for Peter Shilton. Of the 92 goalkeepers ever chosen by England for full internationals, he now stands on his own. His 74th cap tonight surpasses the record of Gordon Banks, and at 36, Shilton's stature and presence, and indeed his agility, show no signs of decline. It's an England side with just one change from the draw with Romania here last month. Ray Wilkins returns for the injured Peter Reid. A chance, says Bobby Robson, to see whether Wilkins and Glenn Hoddle can operate in the same midfield. But such are the options available to the England manager in the battle for places in his World Cup team. Only 5 of this side played in Istanbul. Then Yashar conceded 8 goals, but he remains in the firing line despite further erratic performances for Turkey. The 30-year-old goalkeeper is one of only 4 to survive Turkey's inept showing last November. Defenders Yusuf and Rashid and Mujdat in midfield are the others. 5 players come from Fenerbahce, who recently produced a sensation in European football by knocking Bordeaux out of the European Cup. It would have been 6, but Hussein was taken ill overnight, so at number 10, Unal wins his first cap. Anatoly Milchenko from the Soviet Union is tonight's referee, adding, I think, to the World Cup flavour. Some of you might well remember the last Russian official here, Bakhramov, the linesman who signalled the validity of Jeff Hurst's controversial goal in the 1966 World Cup final. So England kick off in the rather strange colour combination of red shirts and blue shorts. In the World Cup regulations, it's the home team that changes. Turkey in white and red. And England, as Bobby Robson has been saying, with a burning desire to win. Although now, thanks to the marvellous efforts of Northern Ireland, the place in Mexico is secure. Here's Ken Sansom. Hoddle with a useful turn and cross. Sansom had stayed forward. Selçuk on his own for Turkey. An interesting break this. But the athleticism of Gary Stevens to England's rescue. The England party are sure that Turkey will come here to muster their resources behind the ball. They play with a sweeper, their captain, the number 5, Sedat. Sansom looking for Haitley at the far post. Haitley is repositioned as Stevens attempted to find him, but slipped. But although the real belief is that Turkey have come here to salvage a reputation, they've only conceded 1 goal in their last 3 internationals through an out-and-out defensive policy. Their coach, Coşkun Ozari, does say that he promises an open game, but we shall see. Here's Chris Waddle, given a vote of confidence by Bobby Robson, staying in the starting lineup ahead of John Barnes. Sansom into the feet of Haitley, and Lineker trying to take it on the burst. So it's Gary Lineker and Mark Haitley as the 2 central strikers. But they know that The likes of Kerry Dixon and Trevor Francis and Tony Woodcock, of course, are waiting in the wings. Here's Hoddle. Turkey didn't have to deal with the aerial threat of Hately in Istanbul 11 months ago. He was injured, and Peter Withe was called up. Abdul Karim staying close to Gary Lineker. Ray Wilkins very keen to make the most of tonight in his personal battle to win that central midfield place back from Peter Reid. Hassan. Here's Sedat, the sweeper, taking too long, and Hately, after Wilkins had done the blocking. Well, Yashar, the goalkeeper, blamed himself for one, maybe two, of the 8 goals in Istanbul. Wilkins with a header. Yusuf. Gary Stevens, who wasn't able to train on Monday, with a spot of kidney trouble after an injury playing for Everton in the Milk Cup at Bournemouth. Hoddle, an early chance to show the range of the passing. Wasn't cleanly hit, but Hately made something of it. Here's Waddle. Now Robson. Wilkins. So much talent on show in England's midfield with Wilkins, Hoddle and Robson. Ray Wilkins has shown plenty of strength of character in the past to battle back to win a regular place. It's his 73rd international tonight. Yashar's kick collected by Hoddle, but Lineker is offside. Turkey very aware that England are expected to come at them right from the off. And indeed, it was in the first 20 minutes in Turkey that England really won the match. They silenced the crowd. An indirect free kick given against Wilkins for raising a foot. Mujdat leaving it. Finally taken by Yusuf. To Selçuk. Chenol harried by Robson. And Sedat, the free defender, incurring the displeasure of the crowd, who have obviously, in their hearts, come here hoping for a repeat of 8 goals, but it's asking a great deal at any level of football. Turkey operating with Şenol, who made the header then, and Selçuk as their 2 forward players, joined in the middle by Hassan. This is Ismail, now Hassan. Selçuk with a throw. Here's Mujdat. Robson quickly in with a challenge and a chance maybe for Waddle to stretch the legs. England mustering their forces in support with Wilkins and Hoddle. And the central route perhaps wasn't the best one, with Gary Stevens breaking to the right of Glenn Hoddle, who was trying to force away through a congested area. Hately cleverly laid off, aiming for the stride of Lineker. Stevens. In training, England have been working on serving the front players quickly and at times bypassing midfield. But the main problem tonight may well be to draw Turkey out. Here's Hoddle. Given away to Ünal. And now Ismail for Selçuk, who was a scorer for Fenerbahce in that remarkable win over Bordeaux. They actually won in France. And going back a couple of years, Selçuk scored a goal in the European Championships that beat Northern Ireland. Wilkins. And it's going to be interesting to watch the positional play of Wilkins and Hoddle. It was Hoddle who collected the pass from Wilkins. Hoddle and Ray Wilkins both like to drop deep to collect the ball from the back four. They clearly both can't do that. And the England management looking for a sharing of the load in that respect. It's Wilkins at the moment. Hately given plenty of time to come away from his marker. Rashid. Waddle. Ismail and Sedat. But Sedat presented it to Sansom. Has a second chance now. Ünal. Sedat showing plenty of comfort in possession. Yusuf. And the Turks not without support here at Wembley. Hassan just unable to keep the ball in. He plays for Trabzonspor. Hoddle. In the opening 10 minutes, England just really sorting out exactly what style of defensive play they're up against. And it's a very mass one, but Lineker with the first strike in anger. Cleverly found by Ray Wilkins. An incisive ball from Wilkins, and Lineker stole a yard and hit it first time. Wilkins governing the centre of the field again. Stevens, who will surely have plenty of opportunities to foray forward. Wilkins, just a little too leisurely. Ünal got a foot in for Turkey. Fenech. And it's an optimistic run from him. He's found Hoddle. And now Waddle. Hately waiting for the cross, but England just a little slow providing it. But now Hoddle. And Chris Waddle, who's still looking for his first goal for England. Stopped with a sight of the goalpost by Sedat's tackle. But Turkey have conceded the corner. Hately going towards the near post where he'll join Mark Wright. Lineker waiting for any flick on. Robson and Fenech poised to attack the ball a little deeper. It came off Wright. Yashar in trouble. Stevens and Turkey streaming out. And Wilkins has strayed offside. He's been in tremendous form for AC Milan this season, where he's helped Hately to 4 goals in his last 4 club games. And that understanding might bear fruit for England here. Turkey's first international in England. The players arriving here for training last night were almost like tourists, with cameras flashing, photos as souvenirs of a visit. And Hoddle took that brilliantly. Yashar made the catch as Hately was breathing down his neck. Sansom. And it's good to see so far that Wilkins and Hoddle have certainly kept clear of each other's territory. It's Wilkins ahead of Hoddle here. And Waddle coming in, onside, and Robson couldn't force it in. Turkey caught square this time, and Waddle just knocked it across the face of the goal, and the bounce was unkind to Robson, who was then penalised for his challenge on the goalkeeper. Unal. Here's Waddle. Breaks for Chris Waddle again. And Stevens in so much space to England's right. But Waddle has his eyes perhaps on the goal. And he's made it! It's his opening goal for England. And it's arrived in the true Waddle style. On and on he went. And I don't think Yashar will be too pleased to have been beaten from such an angle at the end. In the 15th minute, Chris Waddle beating the goalkeeper on the near post at the end of a spectacular run. Well, Bobby Robson has said by picking him, he's shown his belief in Waddle, and Waddle has repaid that faith. England lead. And that really has raised the volume of the crowd, who are just becoming a little impatient with Turkey's mass defending. And for Chris Waddle, it must have raised the morale no end. Well, there are all sorts of ways to overcome teams who defend in depth, and that is one way to do it. Just to have the self-belief to take on defenders who, in the end, were so unsettled, and then a goalkeeper who was completely surprised by Waddle's shot. Ismail trying to surprise Shilton. If you compare Peter Shilton with Gordon Banks, he's just ahead when it comes to clean sheets, 37 to 35 before tonight. Shilton might just have been tested here, but in the end, his angles were perfect as usual, and he watched it go wide. Mujdat. Just to put Turkey's World Cup credentials into some perspective, they haven't actually won a World Cup tie for almost 8 years. And the only goal that they've scored in this qualifying competition was in their opening match against Finland, and that was a penalty. Ismail. Waddle wins it back. And after assessing one or two other options, Wilkins went for the most difficult pass. Waddle. Stevens is onside. And Lineker, 2-0. England very much in the groove. 2 goals in 3 minutes. Turkey torn apart again. And Stevens with the presence of mind to look up and find the head of Lineker. Just made the little check there to stay onside Gary Stevens, and he deserves his credit for his part in the goal by Lineker. It's England 2, Turkey 0. We've only played 18 minutes, and thoughts may be now turning possibly to another 8. It's asking so much, but England are so determined. Hoddle. Lineker. It's Wilkins this time. It's Waddle, and the linesman is flagging, and that one doesn't count. But in terms of defensive football at this level, Turkey sadly lacking. Waddle's moment this time ruled out. Selçuk. Mujdat unable to control. Selçuk. Ünal finding the pass just too long for him. So for Gary Lineker, a 4th international goal on the evening of his 9th cap. Well, is it a case of déjà vu for Yashar? Stevens, it's out of play. Ünal. Sedat, and that really reflects the panic that has spread through the Turkish ranks once the first incision was made. Bobby Robson in the centre of the picture. He's used 58 players, 5 complete teams really in his 3 years in charge. But things definitely moving in the right direction now for the England manager. Down went Selçuk. Under challenge from Mark Wright, but the only decision given by the Russian referee is a goal kick. Here's Wright, wanting to join in. Stopped by Hassan. Hoddle. And Wilkins. Here's one for Hately to fight for. And Robson was aware of the possibilities, although Hately didn't get a clean jump. And Robson is offside. And again, it doesn't count. And it was a beautiful chip too from the England captain. It's possible that he wasn't the player furthest forward. It was Hateley and possibly Lineker as well in the centre of the picture. The linesman flagged, no goal. Now, Selçuk has been perhaps the most conspicuous Turkish player so far. He's not been hiding from the ball, but his control let him down then. Here's Fenwick. Lineker and Hateley reposition again ahead of Sansom. Waddle. Taunting Ismail. It was Sadat who blocked it. And Wilkins. I hesitate to remind Ray Wilkins, but he's not scored in his last 29 internationals. A run almost 4 years. He may not get a better opportunity to end that run than tonight. Selçuk. Hassan. I think 1 or 2 shows of initiative from Turkey. A successful England team means so much, of course, to the well-being of the English game. And perhaps in 1986, Bobby Robson's side can make that a more memorable year than 1985, when it has looked as though at times English football has been cursed. It's a night of great optimism though here. Wright and Hoddle from Wright's tremendous challenge. Hateley got underneath the header. Well, it's a question really of whether you try and harness Glenn Hoddle's talents to a team plan, or whether you just build the entire team around him. It's a debate that's been going on for some 6 years now, since Hoddle made his England debut here against Bulgaria. Hateley in so much space until he ran into a corridor, but he still goes on. He brushed them aside. Selçuk. Selçuk's header. Mojdat leaving the throw for Yusuf. Yunal. Hassan. It's a complete miscue by Mojdat. Doesn't do much better the second time. Selçuk. Finally, England have it back with Robson. Waddle is away to Hoddle's left, behind Sansom. But here's Ismail, reminding England that at times they do have to defend. It was almost arrogantly claimed back by Wilkins for Hoddle, and now Robson. Turkey have a player down injured. Mujdat. Stevens. Lineker. And Sansom. It hits Rashid. Could have deflected anywhere. Hately. Getting the better of Rashid. Mujdat is off the field now, getting some treatment. And Hately is offside. But this run from Mark Hately, a perfect example, really, of how poor Turkey are at defending. In the end, Ismail crowded him out. Hoddle. Now Ünal. Mujdat back in the action after some running repairs. Wilkins. England really can pick their moments to come forward and pick their passes, as Wilkins does for Sansom. The danger, of course, when a team is in such command is that players do tend to overindulge when they are in possession. But there are so many opportunities, even when one is missed. And here's Fenwick, looking for some glory. And Yusuf to the rescue for Turkey, with a bold catch off his line, as Hately had drawn back his head and was moving in for the kill. "15 minutes of the first half remaining. It's England 2, Turkey 0. Really an opportunity here for England to impose the pattern of their play as well as their individual skills. Hassan dispossessing Hately. Have no fear about England easing up, because each player knows that personally he has so much to play for in the months that lie ahead. Ismail. Now Selçuk. And as Turkey press forward, maybe gaps will open up again that England can exploit with Waddle and Sansom. Sansom using Waddle as a decoy, and not really showing the final pass that England wanted, with Wilkins and Waddle in space, and now Waddle is offside. It can't have been easy for Chris Waddle, with John Barnes such a direct threat for his position. So often Bobby Robson has used the two players, and the one who started the game hasn't had the full 90 minutes to prove his worth. Ünal. At times, individually, the Turkish players have shown some neat skill. Fennick. As he looks up, Hately's got away from Rashid, and Robson making the extra man coming from midfield, couldn't be found. So that, an experienced sweeper, the oldest of the Turkish players at 32. Ismail, and Ünal looking to get behind Sansom. Ünal is only 19, quite an experience to be called in at the 11th hour. As Hassan pivoted into the shot, Wilkins in the way. Kenny Sansom with a new line in hairstyles. Fennick. Here's Robson. Plenty of movement from England. Turkey again getting every player behind the ball. But Wilkins still able to just pick up a yard of space, and then Waddle. Now Stevens. And it opened up for Gary Stevens. At times, the Turkish defenders, with their individual marking responsibilities, are neglecting the actual player in possession. Gary Stevens allowed to go on and let fly. Robson is onside. Clean in at Yashar. It's hit the post. Lineker. Hately. Tremendous save. Robson. 3-0. And Yashar this time unlucky. Well, Brian Robson, who scored a hat-trick in Istanbul, has helped himself again here after initially hitting the post. But England reclaimed it. Hately's header was beaten out by Yashar, but Robson pounced. And what a good goal-scoring record from midfield Brian Robson has for his country. That's his 16th in his 49th international. England lead 3-0, and 10 minutes of the first half remain. Ünal. Sedat. Well, Bobby Robson called the result in Istanbul bizarre. England's finishing that night, he said, was acute. It's been every bit as sharp here. And the crowd calling for more. Sansom. Yashar has to make it his, and he can't do that. But he was fouled by Hately. Turkey are looking to make a substitution. And Buke Hassan is the number 14, who will take over from the injured Chenol. Chenol, who was actually getting some treatment when Brian Robson set off on that run that led to England's third. Waddle. Waddle. It's relentless pressure from England. Wilkins. And Robson sneaking in from midfield. And the picture tells the story of the clash of heads. It was Rashid who collided with Robson painfully. Well, they'd love to get on the England substitutes. That's Dave Watson. But obviously not in the circumstances of Brian Robson being injured. With plenty of more opportunities to add to his impressive goal tally surely to come. I don't think you'll see Brian Robson retiring from the fray. Sansom. Fenech. Here's Abdul Karim. Turkey outclassed and outgunned. Right. Waddle just trying to curl it down the line beyond Rashid, but the defender had repositioned. Ismail. Mujdat switching the point of Turkey's attack to Yusuf. And at times overconfidence can set in. It was Hoddle who was guilty then. And Mujdat has won Turkey a corner. Duke Hassan almost found the ball dropping his way. And Turkey only had 2 players in England's penalty area. The others more concerned with defending should England break away, as Waddle tries to do. Ismail. Hoddle. Well, he'd hardly find as much room as that in a practice match. Stevens goes on. Robson's gone to the near post. Lineker! It's 4. And England promised a night of celebration. And that's certainly the way it's turning out. Again, it's the Stevens-Lineker combination. The header buried in the corner. Three minutes left before half-time. England 4, Turkey 0. And surely now the 8 isn't out of the question. And Gary Lineker, his second. Waddle. It's an effervescent England performance. And Lineker bearing down on Sedat. Hoddle. And Yashar will be having nightmares again about England forwards. If there was a league for cruelty to goalkeepers, he might apply for help from it. Wilkins and Robson. Wilkins. Hakely was blocked off the ball by Ismail. And the referee had his eyes actually on the path of the cross and didn't see the infringement. You now. Bobby Robson's mind might be turning to the 9 goals that his side got here in the European Championship against Luxembourg almost 3 years ago. Because they've got 4 in the first half against Turkey in the World Cup. 2 from Gary Lineker. And a significant one for Chris Waddle that set England on their way in the 15th minute. The other from Brian Robson, and one's heart goes out to Yashar, who's got to face the second half, knowing that his team are being overwhelmed and overrun. Half-time at Wembley, it's England 4, Turkey 0. Too late now. Welcome back to Wembley. England on their way to Mexico in style. 4 goals to the good, every prospect of more to come. And when one remembers the pain of matches here, like the game against Poland, which stopped us qualifying for the 1974 finals, it really is an occasion to sit back and enjoy Bobby Robson's side playing well against meek opposition, but making that opposition look exactly what it is. Yusuf. Wilkins. Mike Kelly, one of the FA coaches, closest to the camera. Don Howe, Bobby Robson's assistant, behind him. In Istanbul, England were only 3 goals up at half-time and went on to get 8. Robson. Waddle has sprung away ahead of Sansom. Here's Lineker, who's on a hat-trick, of course. Stevens. This time, Yusuf was a barrier that Gary Stevens couldn't get beyond, although he has really played a big part in England's attacking play. Mark Wright, too, has been able to stride forward when the occasion has demanded. Unal. Mujdat with the left knee strapped now. Küçük Hasan, the number 8, 2 Hassans on the field for Turkey, with Büyük Hasan having come on as substitute, and Yusuf looking to get his name in the Turkish newspapers from all of 40 yards, and it's swerved away for a throw. Right. Hoddle. And Yusuf hesitated, and Haitley's got the better of him. And Yashar was left exposed, and he too should have done better. England, though, have the corner. Wright flicks it on, and Yashar paws it away. Fenwick, who've come forward for the original corner, and that's Waddle. Well, the England players queuing up for the opportunities. And this time, Chris Waddle from Fenwick's cross couldn't put the header on target. And the smile says it all. To the credit of England's first half performance, there have been very few moments of self-indulgence so far. And England can attack this second 45 minutes with real relish. Hoddle. Here's Yusuf. And now Unal. Stopped in his tracks by Sansom. Waddle away on the far side. Hoddle couldn't find him. Yusuf. Mujdat. And that rather sums up Turkey. Ball played by Yusuf, defecting off Mujdat, who turned his back. But he's got the ball back here. Swept on for Robson. Haitley just frustrated again. And I wonder whether there's a bit of a jinx on that number 9 shirt when it comes to facing Turkey. Peter Withe wore it in Istanbul, and he didn't score when England got 8. Yusuf. Büyük Hasan. Easily read by Wilkins. Waddle. Going straight for the heart of the Turkish defence again. This time, rather than take on defenders who, in any case, were retreating, He opted for the shot. The target for England to show against Turkey that they have the qualities that will embarrass teams of a much better standard. And Waddle fisted away by Yashar. Good punch too. And collected well in turn by Unal. And it's but a temporary reprieve for Turkey with Hoddle and Haitley. It won't go in for him. The England rolls reversed here because it was Lineker who guided it down for Haitley. Mujdat. Sedat. Hoddle and Wilkins linking up again. Bobby Robson looking for coordination of the likes of Platini and Giresse for France. There's no higher standard in international football than that. And Hoddle, impishly done. Robson. Ismail has stuck to his task better than most for Turkey. But here's Waddle again. Lineker. Is this the hat-trick? It is! A very special moment indeed. 3 goals for your country, as Gary Lineker has done here. In the 9th minute of the second half, Turkey had given the ball away. And Lineker made space for himself. And just as Brian Robson got a hat-trick against Turkey in Istanbul, Gary Lineker has got one here at Wembley. And a scoreline that makes very pleasant reading. It's his second of the season. He scored 3 for Everton in the First Division against Birmingham City. And on the Turkish bench, the brows are furrowed. They're getting a lesson, and they know it. The coach there, Coşkun Ozari, leaning forward. Waddle. It's a rampant England again. Büyükhasan. 4 players forward for Turkey. Selçuk. Sansom keeping his concentration. I'm sure Peter Shilton expects another clean sheet on his record-breaking appearance. And you can also be sure that his concentration will be at its highest now. In Turkey, he had to make 1 save right at the end of the match. He could have been forgiven then for being cold, but he produced the required reflexes as ever. Turkey hesitating until Abdul Karim lent over the back of Lineker. To be fair to the Turkish defender, Lineker didn't make a great effort to play the ball himself, but it's England's free kick. Stevens. Fenwick. Waddle forced in field. Robson wasn't quite what he intended, and Waddle in any case had run offside. Brian Robson operating to the left of centre of England's midfield, allowing Wilkins and Hoddle to work to his right. Wilkins wanted handball by Unal, and it came in the end, but perhaps a little late from the Russian referee. Here's Wright. Lineker and Haitley exchanging positions again as Fenwick picked out Lineker's run. Sansom. England asking Chris Waddle to stay basically on the left, but with some freedom to wander if required. Hoddle. It was an instant response to what was only half a chance. England passing the ball at a bewildering pace at times, certainly bewildering to Turkey. Hoddle's shot. How good it is to see that there's no slackening of the tempo. Bobby Robson promised that, and he's getting it from his players. And England have another corner. Wilkins has gone across to take it. Mark Wright making his way to the near post. Haitley joins him. Away by Sedat, but only as far as Hoddle. Wilkins sensibly checked back to stay onside. Cleverly played by Küçük Hasan. Unal. Büyükhasan. And this is Selçuk. And he's onside. Büyükhasan is in the middle, so too is Unal. And Selçuk saw glory beckoning for himself. And ended with failure. With Hoddle playing his part in England's defending. Wilkins, and Waddle finding himself free again, drawing the sweeper out. England continuing in their sophisticated style. Sansom offside. England really haven't needed to hoist the ball towards Haitley as often as they might do in other circumstances. Such has been their control in midfield. Sedat given away straight to Wilkins, who could punish Turkey here with the help of Robson. And now Sansom. Stevens. Hoddle to his right. A chance for one of those curling Glenn Hoddle crosses, perhaps. And in the end, he was looking to lay the ball back. Stevens was unmarked. And again, the crowd react to the offside flag. rare touch for Shilton. And that was overindulgence by Fenech. And Turkey can spring forward here with Ünal. Wright's tackle stops them in their tracks. And here goes Waddle for Lineker. Hoddle. There was no offside, and Lineker, perhaps having his shirt tugged to start with, was a little slow off the mark for that reason. Waddle. Linking up with Wilkins. That was very adroitly done by Waddle, and Robson may have pulled a muscle in his efforts to get there at the far post, and a look towards the bench, and that could spoil England's party. And indeed, be bad news for Manchester United with the league match against Liverpool on Saturday. He stayed off the pitch. Trevor Steven is England's midfield substitute. And I think England will take no risks with Brian Robson. He was herring towards the far post, and there it went. Trevor Steven waiting to be called on. England with 10 men at the moment. Haitley. And Lineker couldn't quite grow high enough. Kuchuk Hassan. Ismail. Wright's header away. Turkey going forward as Brian Robson makes his way towards the tunnel to a tremendous reception. But a disappointing end to his 25th match as England's captain. But England have a captain to appreciate and a team to follow. And one can only hope that UEFA have a sympathetic view of England's problems when they consider our application to take part in the European Championships. That decision will be known tomorrow. Meanwhile, Trevor Steven finally gets on as Robson's replacement. Steven joining the fray at the halfway point in the second half. Sansom. Steven, chance to make an early impact. Here's Stevens. England still keeping their width and getting their crosses in. Ismail. Waddle. And Hately again was thwarted. Waddle was aiming to play him free, and he might just have been clear. Hoddle. Here's Steven. And in comes Hately! When you are the main central striker, there's nothing worse on a personal level than your team getting a hatful of goals and you don't get one of them. It's really about the closest he's come. A definitive Mark Hately header. Right. With Steven operating on a wider front on the right of England's midfield. Should increase the space, if anything, for Hoddle and Wilkins. Well, Turkey happy to use up a few more seconds. Right. Hately. Waddle played it without really looking. Bukhassan. England have it back with Steven. And for once, no one wide to the left, although Lineker sprinted away to fill that space. Sansom. Hately with Rashid at his back and then bringing him down. Hately already on his way back into the middle. Sansom passing the responsibility of the free kick to Wilkins. And it's hit with too much force for all of them, despite the endeavours of Steven to keep the ball in play. Bukhassan. He's been an energetic substitute, the number 14. Küçük Hassan. The player foul by Fenech. Turkey have only scored twice in the last 12 internationals. And for all their enthusiasm in the rare moments that they have crossed the England halfway line, They've certainly not had the quality to trouble Peter Shilton. All the activity has been around Yashar's goal. And they're really trying to use up time to save further punishment. Back it goes again from Abdul Karim. Rashid. Dukasan with the header, and then Mujdat. And Wright took his eye off the ball. And Turkey have it with Bukasan, and they have 5 players forward. Selçuk. Stevens covering. However much a team's superiority, it is very hard to sustain attacking play for every minute of the 90. I think England are just going through a rather reflective phase, shall we say, at the moment. But Shilton tries to set them going again. Hoddle. Now Wilkins. Maybe it is time for a party trick or two, but that one didn't work for Wilkins. Ismail. Stephen prepared to take a chance, or perhaps not a chance, with his Everton clubmate Gary Stevens. Shilton propelling the ball long, and his first memory really of playing for England 15 years ago, Peter Shilton, was of making a goal with a long clearance in his debut match against East Germany here. Well played by Küçük Hasan, but it did go behind for the goal kick. Peter Shilton has got a contract with Southampton that will take him past his 40th birthday. So there's plenty more to come from him. And how invaluable Shilton's experience will be in the much more testing surrounds of Mexico. 15 minutes left. England 5-0 up. And Sedat, angry with a rather weary Küçük Hasan. Sedat had covered a lot of ground and expected better support, the sweeper. Bukasan. Turkey getting a greater share of the ball now than at any other part of the match. Stephen. Wilkins. Every player but Peter Shilton in Turkey's half at the moment. Waddle. Stephen. And he rather ran into Abdul Karim, and the referee saw it that way as well. Abdul Karim just stood his ground, and Stephen came into his back. And here's Küçük Hasan. Stevens playing the ball. Wright tidies up. The crowd urging England to even greater efforts, and the back pass not really appreciated by the manager. Hateley has got it, but couldn't find Stephen, and Yusuf Chuk Hassan has looked very good in possession at times for Turkey. Here he is again. With better support, he could have been a thorn in England's side. Lineker. Waddle faced again by Ismail, but past him, as though he wasn't there. And past Rashid. Abdul Karim was the third line of defence for Turkey, and an important one at the last. But Turkey neglect Waddle at the short corner and Sansom, and surely Wilkins came back from an offside position, and that was a lapse in concentration, and I think Wilkins realises it. And Turkey have 3 players forward against 3 back for England. Unal from the second division of the Turkish league to an international debut at Wembley is a big step that Unal has taken. Stevens given away to Yusuf. England are going through a sloppy phase, but Sansom will try and put to rights with Waddle. Well, is Mark Hateley going to go the way of Peter Withe in Istanbul? A goalless 90 minutes when his team has been dominant. Ten minutes left. The crowd's appetite, I don't think totally sated yet. What about the players? Stevens. Here's Hoddle. Goal kick. England have just sacrificed their authority in midfield in the past 10 minutes or so. And Turkey haven't caved in, to their credit. Chuk Hassan. Maybe Bobby Robson's response to England just going off the boil will be to give Tony Woodcock a run. Hateley got a bang on the back of the head, but Waddle's recaptured the ball, and Hateley suddenly is in full working order, but not thinking quite quickly enough. And if Tony Woodcock is to come on, it may well be Mark Hateley whose place he will take. We shall see. Hoddle. Now Stephen. Hateley's offside. He has to battle on really alone in Italian club football. And at times tonight, Mark Hateley has been crowded by his teammates. That's not always to the advantage of the type of player that Hateley is. Bukasan with a neat cushioned header. Free kick given against Wilkins. Selçuk. Stephen. An early celebration of November the 5th in the crowd. Lineker. And all credit to Turkey, who have maintained their competitive instincts when they really could have been in a far worse position than the 5 goals down. The Wembley crowd wanting to see the ball switch forward, as Shilton did. And maybe now Bobby Robson can make his second substitution. Tony Woodcock, who scored twice in Istanbul, his last international goals in fact, will replace Hateley. 6 minutes left. And they won't be queuing up to wear the 9 shirt if England play Turkey again in the near future, after Mark Hateley here and Peter Wid in Istanbul had no luck in front of goal. Abdul Karim. Straight though to Stephen. And Hoddle. Woodcock is offside. The linesman not spotting the flag. And Woodcock trying to get involved with great urgency. Offside again. Hoddle again with one of those teasing crosses, aimed to curl away from the defenders and the goalkeeper. Yashar fisted it to safety. Hoddle. Bukasan. And in the second half, Turkey have just really gone out to enjoy the experience of playing at Wembley. They've relaxed a lot more. Rashid. Selçuk. Now Mujdat. Forced wide by Wright. And Selçuk and Bukasan waited in vain in the middle. But that really has been symptomatic of the last 20 minutes or so for England. The ball just skidding away, and a disappointed Mark Hateley, with Kerry Dixon promised an international appearance, if not against Northern Ireland in the next match, in the preparatory games for Mexico. Hoddle. And this is Woodcock. would have preferred it on his left foot, but understandably anxious to show his cutting edge, and that it still can be sharp at international football. Wilkins. Sansom. Onside this time. Lineker's gone to the near post. Woodcock. And he used an arm. It came to him awkwardly on the bounce. The roar from the crowd, I think they thought the referee was going to place the ball on the penalty spot. But it was quite clearly a free kick to Turkey. Back from Stevens. England have found that their back four have been kept on their toes in the second half, and Sansom caught in possession. And here's Mujdat. A little complacency has crept in. Wilkins. And the passing has lost some of its earlier accuracy. Sedat reading the play well as the free defender. Stephen had come back hoping for the ball played to his feet. But Gary Stevens in the first half, with his adventurous runs and some very accurate crossing as well, and look back on this international with some pleasure. Turkey being told to take the goal kick quickly. Their ordeal at the hands of England is very nearly over. With a total of 13 goals scored in the two internationals against them. And England's qualification for Mexico is well and truly rubber-stamped. And Bobby Robson can savour that satisfaction. Under him, England not only have their place in the international elite, but they can certainly go forward with confidence now. Turkey, of course, without the pedigree of the opposition to come, and they have been swept aside again, particularly by Gary Lineker. A hat-trick for him, matching Luther Blissett, the last England Wembley hat-trick here against Luxembourg almost 3 years ago. Chris Waddle and Brian Robson, who had to go off injured, the other scorers. So 5 goals for England on a night when the celebrations will be conducted with soft drinks because of the ban here on alcohol. But I think we can say at Wembley that the toast is England 5, Turkey 0.
Tony Clive into...
Sorry about that as well.
That's all right, Bob. Well done. So you just chat.
Yeah, sure. I like your tie, James.
Well, we try.
Yeah, very nice.
Got to try and compete with you.
Shirt's not too clever, but the tie's lovely.
Hey.
Actually, the shirt and tie's very nice.
Got to try and keep up with the likes of you. How was the game Saturday? Villa.
Very good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Liked it very much. Aston Villa could have been 2 up, I thought, at half-time, but it went very well. Good spectator game, I tell you. Some of the football's been good this season.
I might, that's John Watts who's directing here, has been doing the stuff that's been going overseas, been following you around. Saw the Everton-Liverpool game, and where are you this Saturday? Do you know where you're going this Saturday?
No, I usually wait till...
find out where John Watts is going.
Find out. No. I usually find out who's playing, who's fit, who isn't playing.
Yeah.
And make up my mind then. One or two I want to see.
Can you split the difference there? What the question?
Yes, sure. Yeah, okay. I think we're going to. I say we. I think Old Trafford is the game that you can see overseas on television.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. How are we doing, John? We all right?
Come on, John.
Okay. Bobby, from the moment you took over, you said getting to Mexico was your main task. Now that you've got there, how do you react?
Oh, I'm very pleased. I mean, it's quite fulfilling. It's been 3 years of hard work and graft and looking at a lot of players and experimenting and keeping the nucleus going. But overall, it's come out at the end of the day quite well. We've had 2 good tours abroad, which I think have been full of experience, and younger players have had a chance on those particular tours. And we're there, so it's nice. Something to really look forward to.
I have read a quote from you saying that you believe England can win the World Cup. Now, I don't know if that was an accurate quote, but what really are your expectations regarding Mexico?
To do very well, to be optimistic, to believe that we've got a chance, whoever we play. The grouping is very important. I mean, I want to win this particular group because that might help us to get a seed position in Mexico, which I think would be an advantage. Naturally, to get through the first hurdle, win the group, or in second position, doesn't really matter as long as we get through the first group. And then after that, it's a knockout basis like it is in the FA Cup. I've waited 4 years for it. I gave up a great job to attack it, and here I am, just on the verge of it. So, something to really look forward to.
Judging by the way you're talking there, although you're picking every word very carefully, you obviously feel that this England team can go well in the World Cup finals.
Yes, I do. We have a nice blend with age and experience and some young players coming in who look full of quality and will get better. We shouldn't be afraid of anyone, really. If we get the right preparation, the right acclimatization, it should go quite well for us. And I'm really quite excited about it and fairly confident about it.
There is another match to come here at Wembley against Northern Ireland, and I'm sure you know by now that the Irish only need a draw here, yes. And already there's talk of, well, perhaps England will let the Irish draw so that we can both go there.
No, we can't do that, and we mustn't do that. The eyes of the world will be upon us. I would obviously like very much for Northern Ireland to qualify, and it would appear that they might have to get a draw from us. So, with tongue-in-cheek, I would like to see them go through, but they'll have to do it on merit. There would be no presents, no gimmies, as they say. We have to be fair, and we have to be correct. And if they have to get a point from us here in a month's time, they'll have to really work hard for us. We are building our own team. We're building our own confidence. We're trying to get a settled side. We're trying to get a string of results together and behind us before we go to Mexico. So any interruption and disruption in that respect wouldn't be a good thing for English football. So I'm in charge of English football in that respect, and therefore I'm only looking for a positive result for England against Northern Ireland. Now, if it goes for them in that particular match, all well and good, but we won't be handing out any presents of any sort.
Now, we were delighted to be able to show your victory tonight on television, and I think you've got 1 or 2 views about the game not being on television this season that it might be a chance for you to put across. Yes, I mean, I think that in many ways, I think a lot of people think, probably everybody in football will say now that football is a terrible miss on football, and because it's not happening at home and on television, a lot of good football is not being seen throughout the country, and I think that's a terrible shame, because some of the football
early season has been quite marvellous. It would be a great stimulant to the game. The right dosage is required, and it needs the right diet. And I'm sure in the past maybe too much of football has been played on television. But the way I look at the game at the moment, I think football does need television, and I hope eventually that it will actually get back on TV screens. Now, it's not for me to decide how you go about that. I mean, there are negotiating bodies and people who are working at it. I just hope that eventually and very, quickly and soon, and very soon, that they can get together and we can get football, the way it's being played at the moment, back on the screens, because I think it's very important.
Just one other point. You can celebrate tonight, and justifiably so, but there's a very important meeting that's going to happen tomorrow that could rule England out of the European Championships. How fearful are you of that?
Well, I would be fearful if it turns out that we get voted out of it, because I think that would be a disaster and a major blow to our development of young players and our international football. We can only wait and see. I hope the vote goes in our favour. It really would be disastrous if it doesn't, but it's something that you've got to think about and cross that bridge when it actually comes. I mean, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that we aren't thrown out of the European Nations Championships, because I think that is an important championship. It's interspersed, as you know, between World Cup every 4 years, and it keeps everything going nicely for the development of the young players, and it's rather crucial to our international plans. So I'm really hoping, fervently praying that the decision goes in our favour.
It's sad that on a night of triumph we have to talk about what might happen tomorrow, but from your own personal point of view, again, I read somewhere that you said you might pack it up after the World Cup if there was no European Championship to look forward to.
You'll read everything, won't you? And things get quoted out.
I've got to.
Things get quoted out of context. No, I didn't say that. I said I would have to obviously consider my position. But I have a contract to honour, which I will fulfil completely. And in any case, what I decide after my contract will not be decided just by me, it will be decided by the Football Association.
Well, we've had some hard times the last 3 years. You got through to Mexico. Time for a nice smile. Very well done indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, okay, Bob, if you can just look at me for like 10 seconds, and then I'm sort of just an editing shot for him back there. You just keep looking at me, and then I'll count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And just another question coming to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, how's that, John? All right? Yes? Happy with that? A few more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Okay. Bob, thanks a lot. Hey, well done.
Thank you.
Smash it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, big reflective piece. So it's just a general piece for you, so it's nothing. We've got all the saves tonight lined up for you to look at. All right.
Well, from tonight, got me running out.
All right. Okay. Right. So it's a nice general piece. Okay. Right. But you've come a long way since you started. What was it, as a 16-year-old with Leicester City? How have you managed to maintain your enthusiasm all these years?
I don't know really. I think I've just always enjoyed playing football, even from the age of sort of 8. And I don't know. It's just something I've probably been born with. I just really enjoy playing and training. If I don't really train hard and work hard, then I don't really feel happy.
You've been doing the same thing though for quite a while. Have there been any stages in your career where your enthusiasm did drop away?
Well, I think you've got to say that you always have your highs and lows in anything, but I think it's like a boxer really. I mean, if you get knocked down, the good boxers get up a little bit faster than the some that stay down. I think you've just got to. Everybody gets bad times. You just got to overcome them and think positively. And I think that's the big thing. I've always thought positively, and it's always stood me in good stead.
Everybody always compares you with the great Gordon Banks, don't they? And I think he was a fella that you really modelled yourself on.
Well, I wouldn't say I modelled myself on him, but he was something that I always admired because, I used to go down and watch Leicester play when I was sort of 10 or 11, and Gordon was in goal, and a bit like Gary Lineker did with me. He was telling me today he used to come and watch me play at Leicester, so it makes me feel a bit old. But I used to do the same thing with Gordon, and obviously, you know, it's great to see the best goalkeeper in the world, and I was only there for a year and a half with him when he was actually at Leicester, and I must admit I learned quite a bit off him. But to say model myself, I think that's wrong. I don't think anybody should model the actual play on one particular person. I used to watch Peter Bonetti and Lev Yashin, and I took a bit from each and tried to make my own style, and at the end of the day it seemed to work.
It's a tough question because nobody really likes to admit they have any weaknesses, but do you still feel now at the age of 36 that you're as good as ever?
Well, I would like to think so, yes. I feel as fit as ever, and I feel as sharp, and I think obviously the older you get, the more experience you get, and I think for a goalkeeper, experience is a big thing. For an outfield player, once you start losing that yard of pace or a little bit, your legs start to go a little bit, then you know it's the time to go. But with goalkeepers, it's a little bit different. Like squash players, you know, you just sort of the training's a little bit different, and it's not such a physical thing out on the pitch. But if you work hard and train hard, there's no reason that in modern day sort of sport you can't keep going for a long time.
We're talking here at Wembley after one of your easier internationals, but an international is a very important one because it means another World Cup for you. How do you view that prospect?
Well, tremendous. You know, we've worked hard. We've got some good away wins, you know, not particularly great performances in football terms, like when we won in Ireland and we got a point in Romania. But, you know, the last few times we've always been struggling on the last game. Now we've done it comfortably. And, you know, that's a big thing, really. And Northern Ireland, you know, they've proven that they're no slouches, and Romania are a good side. So, basically speaking, you know, we're pleased to qualify so early.
Now, you've beaten Gordon Banks' England record. What targets are left for you now?
Well, you know, people have said, you know, 100 caps, etc. But I don't really think that way. I just so, you know, I'm pleased to be playing, and I just take every game as it comes. I think the big thing at the moment that will probably stop me, obviously, is injuries. I think, you know, the older you get, sort of injuries can take a toll a bit more. But physically and everything else, I think I'm going playing for many years. So it's up to who's the manager if I play a few more games, you know.
Just one final one for you. Everyone talks about Gordon Banks and you immediately see the save from Pele. Is there any particular save of yours that you can remember in the same sort of vein?
Well, I think it's a hard question to say, you know, because, I mean, everybody knows, I mean, Gordon, you know, he played in the side that won the World Cup, and you know, the save in Mexico was just unique in that sense, and it was at the right time against the right player. I think you could go up and down the country week in, week out and see players in the 4th division even making fantastic saves, but you're always remembered for certain things in football and in life, and you know, Gordon will always be remembered for that. But I don't think, you know, myself having to try and prove or better anything that Gordon's done. I think, you know, over the years, I think England have been quite lucky that they've had sort of Gordon, Ray Clemence and myself to keep goal. You know, if you look at other countries, I mean, hopefully the English people will understand that we've not done too bad a job.
And any youngster watching who wants to be the Peter Shilton of the 1990s, finally, what would you say to him?
Well, you've got to have the natural ability in anything. I mean, hard work and dedication is all part of anything. At the end of, you know, to start off with, you've got to have the natural ability. And then work as hard as you can, get the right advice, try and improve the things that you're not good at, and try and maintain and even improve the things that you are good at. But be determined and don't let your head drop. And like I say, keep battling away. And if you get knocked down, make sure you're the first one up.
Well done, Peter. Smashing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, Jim.
Just a 2-shot, Pete. Just stay there, and we'll. You can look at me, and I'll count to 15, and that will.
Don't know if I could stand that.
Actually, it's good to have you in the team because we've got 2 of ours, my era. You know, you've got the oldest one. You know, I mean, you're not quite as old, but near enough as makes no difference. You see, I haven't quite got as many grey hairs yet. Yeah, this is a serious question. This is what I'm saying. Wasn't too happy with you tonight when that cross came in, and it was, you know, not one of your best moments. That'll do. Fine.
Love that. Smash it.
See
Okay.
you. Okay. Thanks a lot. Wheel them in. Gary. Right. Chris Waddle's gone like we should have done, so but Gary Lineker hasn't gone. Do you want mine on there as well, Gary? Now, Gary, which goal do you want to see? Which one did you? Which one did you? Yeah, I think it. As Chris has gone, Garrick. Yeah, first and third. First and third. Okay. Do you want to see the second as well? He's a greedy sod. He's a goal scorer, can't you? If you can just move on that one. Okay. Are we going to start? We're going to start off on the ball. Yes. Yes. Yeah. East is watching you at the moment, and apparently you agreed to go to the studio, haven't you? So yeah. He looks really keen about it as well. Apparently, I think we've got a car laid on at 10:30. If that's all right. Is that all right? Yeah. Yeah. He looks absolutely overjoyed at the prospect of having a drink with Trevor East. That most people would be. The entrance to the hotel. All right. So are we going to start off on the ball then and come up or what? Okay, so you want a few words from me, don't we? Okay. All right. You can look at them all three. You see, the things we do for you. Don't worry, I'll get out of the way. Okay. So you want me to head away from that ball, don't you? Yeah. So really, I'm going to use that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try.
Yeah. All right, fine. Once you come up, so I'll stop off and sort of walk in. Okay. What's that say? Lips. Well, you did recently. You were a bit dodgy for this one. Did you have okay. Gary Lineker, the match ball, your first hat trick for your country. You must be a very happy man tonight.
Well, naturally, it's everything's gone well for me and managed to get 3 goals. It can't be too bad. World Cup game and all that.
Can't be too bad at all. Let's have a look at the 3 goals, and really you can turn commentator and just tell us what's happening here.
Well, Gary Stevens knocks a great ball in there, and it's left me the pretty simple job of just heading it in. But he's been doing that all season, Gary. I think I've scored about 9 headers now this season, which is strange for me. And it's basically because of the service that's been coming in from the wings, and in particular Gary. And I think for the second goal he does it again. He gets by the fullback tremendously there, and he whips a great ball in. And I managed just to throw myself at it and knocked it in the bottom corner. It's nice to see scoring headers because with being so strange to score headers and not having scored too many, and with it not being on television this season, and I don't think I've ever seen myself score one before.
Well, you made the most of it this time anyway. Is there a little bit of disappointment perhaps though that 4 in the first half and just 1 in the second?
Yeah, we were a bit disappointed with the way we played the last half an hour in particular, but I think what it is, when you're attacking so much, it tends to take it out of you, and I think probably fatigue crept in and we made a few mistakes, and once you get into that sort of trough, it's difficult to get yourselves out of it. But overall, it's a good result. We're in Mexico, and I don't think there's too much to be disappointed about.
I was going to say, things have happened tremendously quickly for you, and now the World Cup's around the corner.
Well, fingers crossed. It's a little way off yet. Not obviously we're there. If we can keep building on results like this, and who knows, we might go all the way and win it.
And now a few drinks with your old pal from Leicester, Willie Thorne, isn't it?
Yeah, he was here tonight. He came down, and I think we might have 1 or 2. Not too many. It's a big game on Saturday, but we shall have a good night.
Well done, Gary. You deserve it. Smashing.
Love it.
Yes. Just in case you didn't hear it first time, because you always have to hear things 3 times on television. The car will be picking you up at 10:30 at the hotel. If you can hang on to that with you, because I think they might have it. And it'll take you straight. It'll take you straight back after. All right.
Okay. Cheers.
That's it then. We're finished here. We're finished here then, John, all right? Okay. Oh, just one thing. What's the Brian Robson news?
Brian Robson's got a very badly torn hamstring.
Torn hamstring.
He's got a hamstring, which is pretty desperate. Bobby Robson.
Eh?
Pretty desperate.
All right.
Oh, I think we'll have some time.
John Watts, just one message for Euston about Brian Robson. Apparently it's a fairly severe hamstring injury that could keep him out for some while. Okay?
Robson, he's got this talent or something from West Germany, from the West German officials.